Tennessee Titans beat the Denver Broncos 13-10. Wow, you're watching the MJ Take on Sports Fan Entertainment. Take on Sports Fan Entertainment. Tennessee Titans upset and defeat the Denver Broncos. Actually, it really wasn't an upset, okay, but it was a surprise to me as they won 13-10. In fact, the Titans were favored to win this game in Vegas by 1 point, but to me, I just didn't think coming into this game that my football team, the Tennessee Titans, would be able to beat the former Super Bowl champions, this team that has gone 8-4 up into this game, and just, be able to get it done. But they got it done today, and I think the bye week really helped this team, and I have to give some credit to Mike Mularkey. I thought he really schemed a really well first quarter and first half in terms of attacking this Denver Broncos defense where you needed to, okay, and that was their run defense. We ran the ball extensively with DeMarco Murray, with Derrick Henry, and even with Marcus Mariota, and we attacked this Broncos defense weakness, and that is their run defense. Okay, you have to attack them. Their inside linebackers aren't great. They're still missing Denny Trevathan. They have Todd Davis in there. TJ Ward hasn't been strong against the run. They're also missing Malik Jackson on their defensive line. You have to attack their run defense. Also, their cornerbacks, Aqib Talib and Chris Harris Jr., aren't known for being great tacklers. So if you can attack those guys on the boundaries, attack them on the inside, you can find success. Sylvester Williams, their inside defensive tackle, isn't great either. So we found a way to do that today, and ultimately we won the football game despite Marcus Mariota possibly having his worst game as a professional. I'd say possibly. It's not 100% sure for me. I mean, he only threw for 88 yards today, which is god-awful, okay? It's terrible. But at least he didn't throw an interception, so at least you can say that. I mean, he's had games where he's thrown a couple interceptions and he's looked awful from beginning to end. I look at that Oakland Raider game, honestly, this year, that Houston Texans game from this year. But anyway, we won the game, and I'm happy. DeMarco Murray ran well. Derrick Henry ran well early, faded late, but ultimately he gets a passing grade from me. But defensively, that is where the credit needs to be given at. Let's start with Avery Williamson, who has earned his name back. Normally, I call this guy Average Williamson because he's always average, never does anything spectacular, tremendous, anything noteworthy. But today, he won the game as he ripped the football out of Benny Fowler, whoever that was, I really don't know who it was, of the Denver Broncos to win the game. And this was a play that I needed to see him make because you're an inside linebacker, you're 6'1", 240 pounds, make a freaking play, okay? Get a run stuff, get a tackle for loss, get some forced fumbles, make some freaking plays because there's a couple guys coming up in the draft named Reuben Foster and Zach Cunningham that will make those plays for me if you don't want to. But he finally realized today, hey, wait a minute, I'm a run support linebacker, I'm a tough linebacker, let me actually make some tough plays and let me play out and show out, and he did it today, and that really helped today. I'm very impressed by Kevin Byard, okay, or Kevin Byard, however you want to pronounce it, out of Middle Tennessee State, our third-round draft pick out of MTSU, and this guy's really coming along nicely. And Rashad Johnson, I've been very underwhelmed with him this entire season. I know today he was all right, like he helps with that forced fumble, but I think he's been terrible, honestly. But Kevin Byard, this guy is really coming along nicely. You look at that free safety position, I think it's filled. I think this guy has earned the starting role for years to come, at least for next year. Then we'll see how he plays, but he's definitely earned the starting role for now, and I want to see how he progresses and how he plays in the upcoming weeks and hopefully years for this football team, maybe even decade, I don't know. He looks good, and I like seeing that. Defensively, you look at the cornerbacks, Jason McCourty, he played all right, actually, but, you look at Emmanuel Sanders and Demaryius Thomas today, they went off, and that's exactly what I thought was going to happen. They both had a combined, 226 yards between them, 126 for Demaryius Thomas and 100 for Emmanuel Sanders, so they ripped our secondary to shreds, but luckily for us, most of those yards came on their side of the field. Like, we would pin them down, so let's say they're 15 or they're 10-yard line, then they'd move the ball up to maybe our 40 or our 50, and then the drive would stall, and then they'd punt the football, and that would happen over and over and over again. I mean, they, I believe, outgained us, or it was pretty close. I know they definitely outgained us in terms of passing yards, yards. Trevor Siemian threw for 334, and he had a touchdown, so he definitely had a better game statistically and empirically than Marcus Mariota, but we won the game, right? And that's all we care about. So even though they may have outgained us, even though we didn't look good at all in the second half, he won the game, right? And that's all that we cared about, finding ways to win football games, finding a way to win this football game, possibly the biggest football game, not even possibly, definitely our biggest football game for the past 3 years, okay? Maybe even 4, maybe even 5, okay, when you really look at it. So I'm happy today. So with that in mind, can we win the division? Now, I will say this. I'm projecting that, yes, we will win the division, but that is not a prediction. That is not a proclamation. That is not saying we're going to do it. It's done. It will be done. It's over. Go home. No, that's what I think is going to happen. I think of all the outcomes, it's the likeliest outcome. But with that said, it's still unlikely, if that makes any sense. I think it's like right now, I'd say it's like a 40% chance for maybe 45% chance for us. For the Texans, I'd say maybe a 35. And then the Colts, they still have their little percentage because they can still win out. And then for some reason, we don't. Okay, and neither do the Texans. Like we both go like 1-2 in our last 3 games. But with the Texans winning today, this is what we need to happen. Either A or B. A, we win out. Okay, if we win out, we're in. We control our own destiny. We can beat the Kansas City Chiefs. We can beat the Jacksonville Jaguars. And in Week 17 on Sunday Night Football, and this game would be on Sunday Night Football, we could beat the Houston Texans to win the AFC South and go 10-6. Very impressive. Or B, we need to win our last 2 games against the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Houston Texans, and then we need the Houston Texans to lose one of their middle 2 games next week or the week after that, as they go up against the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Cincinnati Bengals, both of these games being in Houston. Okay, they will be favored for both these games, probably by 4 points or more by Vegas, right? I am inclined to believe that they're going to lose one of those games. I'm not sure which one. If I had to bet on it, maybe Cincinnati, but I don't buy they're going to win out. Okay, they just haven't proven to me that they're good enough to do that. While we have a chance, I believe, because I think we have after seeing this game, after seeing us beat the Denver freaking Broncos, who won the freaking Super Bowl last year, there is definitely a possibility that we could win out, okay? Because all we have coming up is the Kansas City Chiefs, who are tougher than the Broncos, but they're very similar. And the good thing about the Chiefs is, and what I like in terms of us matching up against the Chiefs, they're not going to expose our biggest weakness, which is our secondary. You're not going to see Alex Smith just throwing the ball all over us and killing us. They're not going to win like that. They're going to try to win the football. And we showed today, we shut down the Denver Broncos running game. They couldn't run the ball. They couldn't do anything in terms of the run game. So I like how we match up against the Chiefs, but after seeing how bad our offense was today, especially in the second half, we're not going to score the ball. We're not going to move the ball on them either. So that worries me. It's probably going to be like a 13-10 like it was today. And then hopefully we're that 13. To be honest, I'm still projecting a loss there. Okay, so what I think is going to happen is that we lose next week. We beat Jacksonville. We beat Houston Week 17. And by the way, that Week 17 game, that is not 100% chance. Okay, the Titans are going to win that, blah, blah, blah. I mean, that could be for the division, AFC South, blah, blah, blah. Sunday Night Football, NBC, Chris Collinsworth, and, whatever guy they want, Mike Tirico or Al Michaels there. And then we lose, okay? And then everyone's pissed, and everyone's sad, and everyone's depressed. That it could definitely happen, and that is definitely a possibility. What we want is for that game to be for the division. Or, the best case scenario is that we already have the division heading into Week 17, but I don't think that's likely at all. So what we need to have happen, to me, is, number one, let's worry about the Colts. The Colts should lose at Oakland. Okay, that is their Week 16 game. They should. Or just lose a game, really. Just lose one game. If they win out, then there's still a problem. I don't think that's going to happen. If they were going to win out, I think they would have won today. I think they would have beat the Texans in Indianapolis today, but they didn't, right? So we need, for the Colts to lose a game, that will happen. And then either A or B, the Titans to win out, which I don't think is going to happen, but it is possible. I will tell you, it is certainly possible. Or B, we need for the Texans to either lose at home to the Jaguars or at home to the Cincinnati Bengals. And I think that B will happen. I think it will, but again, while I do think it's the likeliest outcome, I don't think it's likely, if that makes any sense. So we'll see what happens. I like our chances right now more than I did last week for sure, after seeing the Colts win how they did, but they lost today, right? So now the Colts are less of an issue, but the Texans are more of an issue. But I don't buy they're going to be able to win their last 4 games after how bad they looked last month. We'll see what happens. So there you go. Those are my thoughts on the Titans beating the Denver Broncos and on the Tennessee Titans' potential playoff chances. Oh, and also in terms of the wild card, some guy tweeted me, "Oh, now you can make the wild card too." We're either going to win the division or we're not going to make it. Okay, that's just what's going to happen, because we're not going to make the wild card at 9-7. The Broncos are going to go 9-7 at least, and even though we'd have the tiebreaker over them, really they're going to go 10-6. Okay, that's really what they're going to go. And same goes for the Miami Dolphins. One of them is going to go 10-6, or the Baltimore Ravens. So don't talk to me about the wild card. It's either going to be the division or nothing. And right now, I like our chances to win the division. So there you go. Those are my thoughts on all of that. What are yours? Comment down below. I want to know. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like, comment, and most importantly, to subscribe. And until next time, this has been the MJ Take on Sports Fan Entertainment. Celebrate Titans fans, and I'm out. Peace.